Yeah, we're live now.
Okay, great.
Okay. So good morning. This is the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals Public Review Session for March 24th at 10 a.m. The following cases will be heard today. 2017-310A Farragut Road, 2017-202A Cunard Avenue, 2019-29BZ Clinton Avenue, 2017-216BZ Wales Avenue, 18797 Rockaway Boulevard, 14802 Rockaway Boulevard, Queens, 2308BZ 80-14 Chevy Chase Street, 12013BZ 1815 Forest Avenue, Staten Island, and 2017-247BZ 1367 East 24th Street. If I didn't call your case, you should not be on the line. Right?
You shouldn't be dialed in.
Right.
However, you're welcome, of course, to watch the live stream to see how it's working. So I just wanted to add, welcome to the Board of Standards and Appeals, really very first Zoom video interactive teleconference hearing. This is our first try at doing this with a live audience. And we hope that people have tuned in onto YouTube, and also will dial in, but only when their case is called. So we can see that there are 5 people sitting in the waiting room. The purpose of the waiting room, which you're accessing, many of you, through the Zoom video app, the purpose of the waiting room is if you want to speak. So right now we're in review session, so we should have no one in the waiting room because as you know, you can't speak during the review session. Immediately after the review session for those, 8 cases, we will switch to the public hearing. So prior to the public, to each case being heard on the public hearing, we'll announce the case and we'll give you time, let's say a minute, to dial in if you are related to that case. Anyone else who's on the waiting room who's not related to the case should not be in the waiting room, and you should be hanging up. So I should be seeing the people on the waiting room dropping down. There's still 4 people in the waiting room. Are you hearing us? Please drop off the call. Okay, so we are going to now start the review session and Tony, you can read the cases in the usual way.
Okay, item number 1, 2017-310A, 1002 Farragut Road, Brooklyn. This application is requesting to be withdrawn.
Correct.
Item number 2, 2017-202A, 43 Cunard Avenue, Staten Island. This application has been requested to be withdrawn. BZ calendar, item number 3, 2019-29BZ, 30 Clinton Avenue, Brooklyn. This also is being requested to be withdrawn. Item number 4, special order calendar, 2017-216BZ, 411 Wales Avenue, the Bronx. This is on for decision.
Yeah, so this one, we closed it last week because we had received all of the information we needed. It was open environmental issues. Does Danny, let me just go down through the commissioners just a second. Can you unmute the commissioners? Sorry. Yeah, thanks. So Commissioner Shanda, do you have any comments? She's muted. Let me unmute her. Sorry, I'm unmuting her. Okay, there we go.
I do not have any additional comments.
Thank you. Commissioner Otley, Commissioner Otley Brown?
No.
Okay, just so everybody knows, there's a little bit of a delay between hitting the mute button and being unmuted, so you have to give it a little time. Commissioner Scibetta? Oops, there we go.
I have no comment and I'm ready to vote on it.
Okay, great. And Commissioner Scibetta?
Nothing further from me.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Item number 5, continued hearings on the SOC calendar, 18797BZ, 14802 Rockaway Boulevard, Queens.
Okay. All right. So the plans were revised, showing planting areas, enclosed dumpsters, and vacuums to be relocated away from the residential. There are 2 vacuums shown. One is at the intersection of Rockaway Boulevard and 148th Street. And I think it would cause the car that is parked in front of it to block 2 curb cuts. So I actually don't think that one's in a good spot. And I don't know why 1 against the building isn't enough. Sometimes we've told them to take out the vacuums entirely. So this one has 1 up against the building. Also, the lumen spread diagram shows lumen spread is greater than 0 along the residential property lines. We need a landscaping plan, the dimension, we need the planting bed depths to be dimensioned and the distance from the property line to be shown. And they need to show the planting bed details and types and number and spacing of plants. Dumpsters are located adjacent to residential properties with no planting between the side lot lines and only a 4-foot high masonry wall, whereas the original approval required a 6-foot high masonry wall. And I think that the dumpsters should have better shielding. And also the history of the tax lot changes that they provided don't indicate the dates. They have these tax lot maps, but it doesn't say the dates of the tax lot changes. I think that's the history of how this site developed and enlarged. So now I'm going to unmute. Oh, Commissioner Shanda, comments?
Yes, I agree with your comments. I am concerned about the vacuum clean machine being located at the intersection, as we have seen in some of the other cases, when they are located at the corner, especially along along the sidewalks. Vehicles either block the intersection, or some of the times they're parked on the sidewalk. So having the vacuum cleaner next to the store should be adequate, because it is far away from the residential. It becomes a buffer between the residential use, and also there is enough space for vehicles to park and not obstruct the sidewalk or the incoming curb cuts into the facility. And with regards to the location of the trash compactor, I think last time we did have a discussion, and we realized that given that this is against 2 of the garages of the residential buildings, of all the location, this location is probably the best. And I agree with you that the wall should be 6 foot high, and they are proposing, I wasn't sure from the drawing, but at least the statement of fact says 10-foot deep landscaping buffer, but from the diagram it's not very clear. So all the detailings of the planting and the depths should be very clearly indicated in the plans.
Okay, great. There. Thanks. Okay, Commissioner Otley Brown.
Yes, my only question is that now that the light shields are in place, could we get new meter readings, light readings?
Yeah, right. Okay. Where's Commissioner Scibetta?
No, I don't have any further comments. The only comment I had is about the lighting. We received analytical lighting values, and it should be, since the system is already in place and operating, it should be actual meter readings, like Commissioner Otley Brown said.
Okay, and Commissioner Scibetta.
So I find that some of these comments are repeated from the last hearing. I just hope that they get their planting beds dimensioned and diagrammed as soon as possible so that they can make this planting season.
Yeah. And that's so these days, who knows who's working, et cetera. The planting season, I do think we may end up rolling into the fall planting season if we're not out of this situation before too long, because by the end of May, you can really no longer plant, but we'll see. Okay. All right. That's great. Thank you. Okay, Tony, you can read the next one.
Okay, item number 6, 2308 BZ, 8014 Chevy Chase Street, Queens.
Oops, sorry, 1 second. There we go. Okay. There are currently 44 ECB violations on this.
Still, yeah.
20 DOB violations and up to $30,000 in penalties owed. But the application states, and I was able to verify online, that the bulk of the violations have been paid before they were close to $200,000 in violations. The cover letter states that kitchen appliances have been removed and applications filed to remove plumbing lines. We did get photos showing the appliances removed, but you can see very serious plumbing lines still in place, so easily reinstalled. We need to see the applications for removal of the plumbing lines. I wasn't able to find anything on Biz, but now there's a new DOB Now site to check on applications, which shows the job has been filed, but it's unclear when it was filed and no permit was issued yet. We need to see photos of the completed work, and they need to understand that these gas equipment is not to be replaced with electric equipment, which is being done quite a lot, where they take the gas lines out. Oddly, the filing that I did see on DOB Now indicates there are no gas lines, but meanwhile you see gas lines in the photographs and the equipment is gas fueled. And so that makes no sense. The proposal is now a warming kitchen in the cellar. So it better stay a warming kitchen. No trash dumpsters in the side yard. They're talking about adding trash dumpsters in the side yard. I say absolutely no. All the trash has to be kept in the cellar in a refrigerated trash storage area until pickup. And if they have too much trash, they need to buy a compactor and get more regular pickups. No excuse for having the trash imposed on the community. In reviewing the plans again, they show a crenellated top of the parapet, like in a fort. They have the crenellated parapet top, and it shows that wall is higher than 4 feet above the roof. So this building, I think, is not, then the building doesn't fall behind the required maximum exposure plane. There's a maximum height of 25 feet above the front yard line, and then you're supposed to fall back with a rise to run of 1 in 1. The originally approved plans that was before us showed a 4-foot high parapet above a 25-foot high roof line. So it's very likely the parapet is not in compliance and would require another waiver. And I'm trying to figure out how in the world they could justify waivers for crenellations on the top to meet programmatic needs. The revised plans don't show the perimeter planting that was shown on the approved drawings. Planting may indeed have been to prevent runoff, but planting is also required in our applications for houses of worship to buffer and shield the impact of the busy activity from the neighbors. The board conditioned approval by requiring planting. So I think the planting should be provided at least along the portion of the property line that is adjacent to residents where the cellar was not built full to the lot line, which was the excuse they gave for not providing the planting, but it's not built full to the lot line everywhere. The required front yards in the R1 are 20 feet and 15 feet on corner lots. There's a new projection for the sort of the apps that reduces the front yard along Chevy Chase. I don't believe it's a permitted obstruction, so it looks like they're asking for an additional waiver and they need to justify it. In terms of rated occupancy at the cellar, I don't see how you do that by subdividing the space into two parts when there's no way to get into the youth minion area without going through the lecture hall. Did DOB agree to this method of calculation? I doubt it. I doubt DOB was shown it. The application as originally filed had that space at all as one room with an occupancy load of 305 persons, which looks like they've now artificially subdivided that room to avoid a revised parking study and increased parking waiver. So, you know, when you look at the smallest occupiable space, it's supposed to be separately accessed. So you could say the space won't fill up with people, with congregants as the spillover sort of. The PA application for the public assembly application for the cellar showed seating at tables only for 227 persons. I'd like to know whether that's the proposed seating method now. And I don't understand the argument in the cover letter that makes reference to the wrong sections in the zoning resolution with respect to parking. I don't understand their argument in the cover letter at all. And also, how did the rated capacity in the sanctuary go to 198 seats when the area, the floor area of that space didn't change compared to the approved drawings that had 220 seats? So it seems like they've artificially reduced the amount of occupancy without having changed anything. So Commissioner Shanda.
Okay. Before I forget, regarding the last statement you made about the capacity reducing from 220 to 198, I believe the applicant stated that in the original approval, though 220 was stated, it did not factor in the aisle spaces and all the area, walking area. So once you eliminate all of that, that reduces it to 198. That's what the applicant has stated in its statement. Sorry, go ahead.
That for 1 second. So rated capacity is based on the size of space, unless you can demonstrate to DOB that you have an unusual seating layout like tables. Right? You have to show DOB that you aren't filling it up with chairs according to the square footage per person.
Right. So we don't know if those discussions had happened and if DOB had approved that we don't know. So they need to justify that. I want to focus more on the issue of the cellar space and the capacity, because I had discussed that at the last hearing. And as I was going back and forth between the application currently before us and the DOB approved plan of dated that is dated 7/16/2013, and the DOB approved plan for the public assembly space, what I'm noticing is that the applicant, first of all, the applicant states that the proposed incremental increase of 3% would not change the parking requirement. And I will agree to that, and I'll get back to that, why. However, the analysis is flawed based on the applicant's own statement and DOB's approved occupancy plan. The applicant states in the statement of fact that, however, since the partition is movable, it is possible to combine this youth minion area with the lecture hall. The DOB approved cellar plan occupancy circulation plan dated 4/11/2014 shows a combined lecture hall and a youth minion layout. However, the occupancy calculation used a net floor area of 2,270 square feet, which is the same area as just the lecture hall and as the net floor area without the stage. So, and that is the same floor area, net floor area that is shown in the DOB approved plan dated 7/16/2013. So it is not the combined net floor area, which when using the measurement from the DOB approved plan of 7/16/2013, if you use the 7/16/2013 plan, the total floor area, the net floor area would be combining the stage area and the lecture hall, it would come to about 3,014 square feet. that equals to 301 person. Now, DOB may not have checked the 7/16/2013 plan to verify the net floor area, and I would strongly recommend that DOB re-review the 4/11/2014 occupancy circulation plan using the 7/16/2013 plan or whatever plan we would be looking at. I would though agree that even with the total occupancy load increasing to 301 person, applying section 25-35, the incremental increase in parking would still be less than 10 spaces. So using the 3,014 square feet as the net area in that, which is including the lecture hall and the Minion youth space, divided by 10, you get to 301 person, and applying the 25-35, 75% rule within 3/4 mile area, I'm sorry, you get to 7 parking spaces that would be required, which is still less than 10, and therefore it would be waived. So applicant needs to revise the narrative regarding the plan and the occupancy load and go through the explanation of how they have explained this is flawed. I though noticed that the DOB approved stair schedule from the 2013 plan allowed for a maximum capacity of 300. And here they're proposing based on this calculation, it would be 301. So will 301 be acceptable to DOB? Will that affect the stair calculation and exit things?
Mhm. I have a question about that. When you're saying getting it to less than 10, you're applying the City Planning Commission
Yes.
permit analysis as opposed to the as of right waiver. This is
Yes.
waiver if you get to less than 10.
It is the, right. It is the, well, I use the 25-35, which says if you are anybody outside the 3/4 of a mile area and 75% is the assumption, those are the ones that live outside and you have to provide parking. So it would come to still 7 spaces. And then the zoning says, if you are less than 10, then you're waived automatically. So that's why I'm getting to that. However, the way they arrived at the argument in the statement is flawed.
Yeah, okay. So they need to correct the calculation, carefully correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. What happened? Oh, here we go. Commissioner Otley Brown?
Yes, my comments really have to do with the whole idea of the catering and how just converting the kitchen from a gas service ovens to warming units is going to take away the problems that were actually thought about when making the initial decision to ban the catering use in the original grant. And the reason why I'm saying this is that the electric holding warming cabinets that they've actually showed us the specs for can accommodate up to 35 pans of food each. That's a lot of food. That's a lot of food for very large gatherings of an awful lot of people. And I think that just because they're not cooking the food at this site doesn't take away all of the concerns we had about the intensity of use in the cellar and the effect that's going to have on the surrounding neighborhood. And so I need a little more reassurance that this is not going to become an independent operation in the cellar that's accommodating not only the congregants, but the entire neighborhood who are seeking places to have celebrations. Mm-hmm. Because it's going to be very disruptive. And we've seen that in other cases where they've had, where they've installed a catering use in the cellar, I guess because there aren't that many venues in this neighborhood, they get used round the clock constantly. We've seen it. And so I personally think that actually getting rid of that kitchen or reducing it in size to such a size that maybe it could only accommodate one of those holding warming cabinets or only accommodate the smaller ones would make me feel a little more comfortable in letting this go through with the amendment.
Mm-hmm. I think that makes a lot of sense. Yes. Reducing the size of the kitchen so it can't handle as much equipment. And then they have room for trash storage and all those other things. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Scibetta.
Yeah, I don't have any like significant comments. other than what is said. The only thing that I noticed in the submission letter is that they indicated that the gas lines remained. My understanding is these gas lines are just remaining, waiting for the DOB filing to be removed. We need to get assurance that these gas lines will be removed, and we need to get photos for that. And on the violations mitigation side, I believe they mentioned that they mitigated about 122,000 and change, and the remaining outstanding balance is about 25,000. So we wanna know also what is going on with mitigating the rest of the fines.
Mhm. Okay. Commissioner Scibetta?
I was unsatisfied with the submission. I don't believe it addressed most of what we spoke about at our at the last hearing, particularly how they're handling the trash, which the community was very spoke very strongly about. We stated at the last hearing that we wanted some concrete plans, something so that this could not be a commercial catering hall any longer. I agree with Commissioner Otley Brown. I think that that would be the best way to go. I would expect a bit more as well as with regard to some sort of operation plan that substantially addresses the trash issue. And I think that most of our concerns could be solved with physically making that a much smaller area.
Okay, makes sense. Any other commissioners have any additional comments? Yeah, okay, hold on a second. Commissioner Shanda?
I agree with Commissioner Otley Brown's recommendation, and I do agree that this would resolve most of the issues that we have heard from the community board and the concerns of large gathering.
Okay. Any other commissioners? We're going to move on. Is okay?
Okay, item number 7, 12013BZ, 1815 Forest Avenue, Staten Island. Oh, wait, Jella?
Oh, Jello on it? Okay, sorry. Just a
On the,
second. Say again. Say
on
again.
the prior case, John Daly sent in comments this morning.
Oh,
John, do you want to?
yeah,
He can't speak now.
can't speak because it's a
Review session.
You see the, Jella, did you see the comments? Yeah, hold on a second. She unmute.
I apologize. Sorry, review session. Getting used to this. Yes, I did receive the comments. It says that inspectors from the Bureau's range hood have been notified of the removal of the kitchen equipment and fire suppression and will conduct an inspection to verify same and rescind any violation orders issued by their unit. The PA space in the cellar still does not have an operating permit from DOB, and FDNY would like to know when they will obtain this. The Bureau's licensed public of assembly has an outstanding violation order for failure to obtain an operating permit for this space, as well as the second floor. Those are the comments.
Okay, just to be clear, those comments were based on application number 2308BZ,
Yes,
because I already called the other calendar number.
yes, sorry. I should have raised my hand earlier. Apologies.
Yes, apologies to the public. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, move on.
Yes.
Okay. So item number 7, 12013BZ, 1815 Forest Avenue, Staten Island.
Okay. Notice of this public hearing was sent to neighbors as we requested, but the instructions for where to email their comments was incorrect. They were instructed to email their comments to the possibility of what's called email the chair and not submit. I tried out email the chair and I wasn't able to email the chair. So I don't actually know whether that works. Which needs to be corrected or the option removed, one of those things. So we didn't receive any comments at all, either by snail mail or email. So obviously the neighbors will not likely have sufficient information about how to find out about the streamed hearing either. So we had many instructions at the last hearing on February 4th, but based on the submission, it doesn't look like there has been time to more than hire the consultants. And now I'm not sure about when the actual work can be done, of course, because we're under unusual work restraints. I think we actually should probably adjourn the case, but want to hear other people's comments. I want to note that we spoke at the last hearing a lot about moving the trash away from residents, and they didn't show that on the revised proposed plans. The cover letter doesn't explain what was changed on the drawing. As far as I can tell, they seem to be pretty much the same as the ones that were last submitted. I want to just reiterate some of our comments. They were amend the landscape plan to show type, spacing, and number of planting with details of the planting beds, including dimensions. So, you know, the depth, the front to back, the width, and the number of plants, and the types of planting. Wheel stops we asked for at the parking spaces near the planting beds are not shown on the drawings. The lumen spread needed to show 0 at the property lines with actual lighting level testing as opposed to modeling. So actually going out with a meter. Acoustical data on the menu boards also we wanted with actual sound testing as opposed to modeling. And trash pickup operations information, how frequently the trash is picked up and so on. So I think that the applicant should listen to the comments of today's review session and the last review session and hearing that was on February 3rd and February 4th of 2020 to make sure that their submission is responsive to all the comments. Their cover letter must go through each comment and explain how they are responding to it. And their drawings have to be bubbled to show the changes made, since we can't figure this out on our own. And the other thing that I want to point out for all of these hearings is because we're kind of intentionally having the review session right before the hearing, because it's not going to be possible for us at any of these hearings to review materials that are submitted right before us. We can no longer do that on this kind of televised hearing, nor can we, given our technological challenges here, review things that are submitted the night before the hearing and expect us to review them in time the next day. So it's going to make the hearing process slower because we will have our comments at review session and our discussions at the hearing. And then the changes need to be made to the drawings, and then we'll review it for the next hearing date. Okay, so Commissioner Shanda.
So we did receive a letter as of March 23rd from a neighbor, Miss Anne DiBerardino, and basically saying that they have had significant issues with this operation, and they have communicated regarding these concerns to their headquarters and
Headquarters.
to the corporate headquarters.
Oh.
And to the community board. And the last meeting was prompted by community board's initiative. At our meeting, the ownership made several commitments, none of which have been fulfilled. I'm just reading the letter. At this point in time, the main issue is the drive-through hours and operation and maintenance activities. Since the rebuilding, the 2-lane drive-through is very disruptive, as well as the 24-hour operation. Their customers do not think anything of honking horns and playing loud music all hours of the night. And McDonald ownership does not take any responsibility for this.
Okay. Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I just saw it. It came in, I think, yesterday.
Okay, that's a good reason.
It's dated March 23rd.
Okay, but we just got it yesterday. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay. Where's Tara? Can't find her. Okay. Commissioner Otley Brown?
Yes, I also read that letter, And I think that the applicant should be prepared to operationally address all of the issues that were brought up by that resident. And as to the trash enclosure relocation that you had mentioned, they should consider putting the trash enclosure in the southeastern portion of the lot and taking those parking spots out and putting them in the back, relocating them or just eliminating them possibly to achieve your goal of reducing the effect of the trash on the neighbors.
Mhm. Okay.
They probably should also consider reducing the hours of the drive-through.
To what?
Closing at midnight or 1 a.m. I think that the neighbor is talking about the fact that it's a 24-hour drive-through and it's bringing a lot of noise into the area. That coupled with the fact that there are maintenance activities like power washing the building at 3 a.m.
Oh.
that are posing issues for the neighbors. So perhaps this should not be a full-on 24-hour operation.
Mhm. Okay. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Sheta?
I don't have like too many comments on this, but I believe that even the submission letter, that gives you some sort of an idea about how the level of care given to a submission like this. That the submission letter says submitted revised plans correcting the traffic floor. I'm not sure what is the traffic floor. And they indicated that they're gonna install the wheel stops probably by April, but like the chair said, they are not indicated on the drawing. So I would say in these circumstances, while we're operating like that, people should be more careful about their submission, and they should scrutinize these submissions before sending to us, please.
Mhm. Okay. And I lost Scibetta. Can somebody, oh, here he is. Okay, I did. Commissioner Scibetta.
I was found. I share the comments of the other commissioners. I wasn't satisfied with the submission. I think they really need to address the letter that was sent yesterday. You know, they haven't, besides the wheel stops, they haven't really addressed anything we said in the last hearing. And I hope that during this hearing, they're going to create some sort of plan so that we can move this case along.
Okay. Okay, great.
Next item.
I think
Before we go next, Lean.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up that FDNY had a letter of objection because they have to get their PA certificate.
They have to get their what?
PA certificate from Department of Buildings, Public Assembly.
Yeah. Okay, I see Sean. Okay, Commissioner Sean, that 1 second. Okay.
I think with regards to relocating the trash compactor on the southeast corner, it's extremely doable. It only eliminates probably 3 parking spaces, which can be recouped back there where the trash enclosure is currently. You can you can relocate 2, if not 3 parking spaces. So I don't think at the end of the day, there will be a tremendous loss in parking spaces, and the location as recommended by us earlier, the southeast corner is the best one because you're backing up against a commercial location, and it should not be an issue. So, yeah.
Okay, great. Anybody else before we move on? Okay.
Item number 2017-247BZ, 1367 East 24th Street, Brooklyn.
Okay. All the comments that I had were picked up in the last submission, so I'm okay with it. Commissioner Shanda?
Okay, I'm okay.
Okay. Commissioner Otley Brown?
No questions.
Okay, sorry. Commissioner Seta?
I don't have any comments on this case.
Okay, and Commissioner Scibetta.
Nothing further for me on this case.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we can commence with the public hearing for New York City Board of Standards and Appeals, March 24th, 10 a.m. This is the public hearing. Item number 1 is a continued hearing on the appeals calendar, 2017-310A, 1002 Farragut Road, Brooklyn. This application has been requested to be withdrawn.
So then I'd like to make a, so I'm gonna unmute all the commissioners so we don't have to go through this. Okay, so then I'd like to make a motion to withdraw.
Chair Promoter,
Aye.
Not adhering.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
can you hear me?
Aye.
Okay. Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Scibetta.
Aye, but I thought we could only do that at a hearing, not a review session.
We're in a hearing,
We're at
We're in the
public
hearing.
hearing.
Oh, sorry.
shifted to the hearing. Just want to make sure we went through all those cases before we.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that motion to withdraw is, that's a motion to withdraw. Okay, item number 2, 2017-202A, 43 Cunard Street, Staten Island, Cunard Avenue, I'm sorry, Staten Island. This application has been requested to be withdrawn.
Or a motion to withdraw.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Scibetta.
Aye.
Application has been withdrawn. Item number BZ calendar, item number 3, 2019-29 BZ, 30 Clinton Avenue, Brooklyn. Application has been requested to be withdrawn.
Motion to withdraw.
Chair Perlmutter.
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Scibetta.
Aye.
Application is withdrawn. Sorry, 1 sec. Special order calendar decision items. Item number 4, 2017-216 BZ, 411 Wales Avenue, the Bronx.
Motion,
Matter is closed.
motion to grant.
Chair Perlmutter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda. Vice Chair Chanda is muted.
Muted.
Aye.
Diane. Oh, 1 second. Yeah, go ahead. Say it again.
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Shetta,
Aye.
Commissioner Scibetta.
Aye.
The application has been granted. Continued hearing items on the SOC calendar, item number 5, 18797 BZ, 14802 Rockaway Boulevard, Queens.
Okay, so we're going to give the applicant this time to dial in. Hopefully the person is dialed in. I see, I'm going to make this announcement again. There are 5 people currently in the waiting room. The only people who should be in the waiting room should be related to application 187-97BZ, 148-02 Rockaway Boulevard. Everyone else must hang up the phone or get out of the Zoom app and instead watch this on YouTube video on our BSA, Board of Standards and Appeals YouTube channel. So, because at the moment, I don't know who to admit relative to this case. I have, I see 4 people are waiting and
At least one is an applicant for a different application and should hang up.
do you know, so we have Neil Weisbard, Rich Stein, a phone number that ends in 835 and a phone number that ends in 080. Anybody who is not related to this application 148-02 Rockaway needs to hang up. So now we have, thank you, 2 people got off the phone. Great. So I'm going to, thank you. Now we have 1 person waiting, and this person should be related to this application. And so I'm going to admit that person, okay? Uh-oh. Somebody with Galaxy Note just got on. Galaxy Note 9. You must be related to application 187-90. Okay, that's the only person left.
That should be
Person
Nazir.
ending in 80.
No, so that's off. So now we have Galaxy 9, 187-97BZ is the application that we are hearing. When I admit you, you must be related to that application, 187-97BZ. I'm admitting now. And then so state your name, please.
Good morning, Diwakar Gupta.
Okay.
You're the applicant for this application?
My name is Diwakar Gupta. I'm representing the applicant Nazir J. Kanzada.
Okay, I'm going to swear you in. So do you
Okay.
affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your
I do.
testimony before this board? Please let me finish. In your testimony before this board, and to respond honestly to board member questions.
I do.
Please proceed. Go ahead, so you can speak. Hello?
You can speak now.
Yes. Okay. I reviewed the public review session this morning, and we agree that we can move both of the vacuums in front of the store away from the intersection.
Okay.
And we can also raise the height of the masonry wall near the trash enclosure to 6 feet. And we can add a landscaping plan with the depths of the planting beds and the distance from the property line, as well as the details and the types of plantings and the spacings. Because the light fixture near the residential property line has been shielded, we will update our lumen spread diagram with new meter readings, and we will add the dates to the history of the tax lot changes.
Yeah. All right, just a second. And so, and you're going to keep both vacuums next to the store?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to unmute Commissioner, wait a minute, Shanda. Do you have additional questions from Mr. Gupta?
I just want to make sure that the vacuum that is going to be placed, it's going to be in a parking lot next to parking lot number 9.
Yes.
And not
One will be not one near number 9, one near number 10.
Okay.
In space, okay. Okay, Commissioner Otley Brown. Oops, sorry, you're not unmuted. There you go.
Yes, my question had to do with doing a new light metering because you have put the shields on the light.
Yes, we will take new light meter measurements and provide an updated lumen spread diagram.
Great,
Thank you.
thank you. Weird, I can't find anybody. Okay, Commissioner Shetta.
No, I'm with what is said from the applicant side. I'm okay with waiting until we see the next submission.
Okay, great. Commissioner Scibetta.
I think you addressed everything that we said in review. I look forward to the application, the next submission.
Okay. Okay. Great. So we appreciate both your cooperation on you're actually our first applicant in our interactive Zoom hearing. So thank you very much for participating. And unlike the other ways that we do hearings, we will be assigning the new continued hearing date, and we will, your project manager will let you know what that hearing date is, and we're also going to be posting that on the website. If you have a problem with the assigned hearing, let us know, and then we'll repost another. But it's not really possible for us to work out the hearing dates under this sort of structure. So thank you very much for coming. Are
No
there,
problem. Thank you.
thank you. Are there any other speakers who might be listening to this hearing, who might be interested in speaking on this application, which is 148-02 Rockaway Boulevard, Queens, application number 187-97BZ. I'll give you, and the phone number. Oh, that's what I wanted. What is the phone number to dial in, Kurt? Or Carlo?
The phone number is 646-558-8656. And the meeting ID is 439-774-213.
Great, thank you. So let's give a couple of a minute for people to dial that number in. And I think what we should do is at the beginning of each application, we should read that number again. I didn't, Tony, do you have that number handy?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
When you read the application, read the dial-in number along with it, okay?
Sorry, 1 second. Oh. Yeah, 646-558-8656. Okay.
Right, okay.
Okay, next case.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Item number 6, 2308BZ, 80-14 Chevy Chase Street, Queens. And the dial number is 646-558-8656. And the meeting number is 439-774-213.
So anybody who's related to this application, in particular the applicant, should now be dialing in or going on to their Zoom app and logging in with the link. There we go. Frank Noriega. It's the right person. Oh, we lost you. Do it. Come back in. So anybody who's related to this application, in particular the applicant, should now be. Oh. Going on to their.
Frank is up. Frank is up.
I don't.
Hi, Frank.
Hello.
Oh, you got him. Okay. Hello. Oh, great. Excellent. So
I
obviously,
gotta swear you in.
but before he swears in, I just want to say, for a little while, I think you had YouTube playing. So anyone who comes on shouldn't have YouTube because we
I have
get.
2 computers running. Let me change that.
Frank is.
Okay, ready to go.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
I do.
Proceed.
All right. So I listened to the comments this morning, and most of them, I think we're going to need some time to just run them by the applicant to say, oh, before I start, I forgot to mention, my name is Frank Noriega. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. I'm from Sheldon Nobel PC. And continuing on. So there were 2 issues where there may be potential for an additional waiver, one to height and one to a projection in the front yard. If we need to, we can clarify that with the DOB, but also I just want to point out that we have DOB approved plans which show both of these conditions. And that's how they were built with the arc projecting into the front yard as well as the articulated parapet wall. Both of the
Just sorry, but the thing is, the reason you're here is because the building was built not pursuant to approved plans. So among the many things, those things were built not pursuant to the approved plans.
Correct. They differ from the BSA approved plans, but the DOB, at least as far as the above ground portions, are identical to what they were built to what the DOB approved. So we can certainly, we will back this up in our next submission before the next hearing, but I just want to point out that there are DOB approved plans that have been submitted and they do show these 2 conditions already.
So I just need to point out again, if DOB approves something unwittingly because they don't realize that it's not a BSA approval, how did they approve, for example, an unpermitted obstruction as to height and setback, if that's the case, or an unpermitted obstruction in the front yard? That would just be them not having noticed the difference or something. That doesn't make it legal, as you know.
Understood. And we will either supplement it with either if the architect can explain it and how it does comply, or if we need to go to DOB for clarification, we can do that.
Okay.
As far as the parking issue, I just want to clarify, if we maintain roughly the same number of occupants, which is what triggers the parking in the cellar, are we okay moving forward without a parking study if we maintain the same number of occupants, which is what we're trying to achieve?
So I'm going to unmute Commissioner Shanda, who brought this up, but I just want to add before she speaks, that the issue is you need to do the calculations based on your occupancy, your rated occupancy levels, and not use what I'm calling sort of tricks to get around the rated occupancy levels. But what are the actual occupancy levels? And then you do the analysis based on 25-25 to see whether you fall below the either the as of right, in other words, the as of right reduction that is, I believe, 10 when you just take rated occupancy, divide by a number, I think it's 10, and then that, but then the other one is for houses of worship. There's another analysis, and you need to look at, use both of those analyses to show that you're coming below the maximum number, but you have to do it. The problem is that in your submission, it's very unclear because it's this kind of rambling paragraph. You need to do the actual math. And that way we can see the math is correct, that you're using the right sections of the zoning resolution to refer to, and don't do it in paragraph form. Do it, have the architect do it, do math. Okay, Commissioner Shanda?
I agree with you, Madam Chair. They should provide the clear analysis based on the actual occupancy in the physical space, because diagrammatically, and based on their statements, the applicant is stating that both of these spaces could be combined and used. So use the total space and which comes to 301 occupancy, and then work backwards using those zoning calculations as in the zoning resolution. And it still is less than 10. I mean, if that's the goal, I mean, you're still reaching it, but do it correctly. I agree with you.
Right. And so I just want to point out that in your materials, you cite to the wrong sections of the zoning resolution for the calculations. You need to be very systematic, be in the right zoning district, make sure that you're in the community facility regulations for that zoning district, and then apply the correct parking calculations that have to do with houses of worship, or not in any of the right ones.
I will check that. I believe they are right, but I will confirm. But I just want to verify what was just said. We were trying to maintain an occupant load similar to what was originally approved, which was around 224. But if we can establish using the combined space, and if it goes up to 300 or whatever allows, if we can still make that calculation, can we approve that without a traffic study, or is that increase what's going to trigger us to look at the traffic again?
So why don't you analysis, and then we'll find out, because at the moment we don't know, right?
We can verify and combine the space and use, I believe the vice chair pointed out that the square footage was slightly different. So we can double check the square footage, do the proper division of the rated occupancy, and come back and do an analysis that way. Certainly, in regards to the comments about reducing the size of the warming kitchen, we'll have to talk to the applicant.
I think I had a question. Did you want to add something, Commissioner Shanda?
Yes, I do want to make the distinction between these two statements that were said. The theoretical occupancy load may be 300. However, you're proposing only an increase to 227, and that would be the limit in our conditions, because we do have the greater concern of the kitchenette, and as Commissioner Otley Brown had mentioned, the greater utilization of the kitchenette, which can result in bigger, more number of people. So we will want to make sure whatever the outcome is, that the rated capacity is not what the actual theoretical number of 301 or whatever that number turns out to be. I just want to be very clear about that.
No. Say that one more time. You want to make sure what?
So the theoretical analysis is one thing, but the practical number that we would be limiting to would be much less than what the theoretical number comes out to be. So it would be 227 or maybe even less, because as Commissioner Otley Brown pointed out, the kitchen area, is big. It can serve a lot of people. We do need to control that. And those kind of catering services do result in more parking need. And so we need to be cognizant of that. So I want to make sure that these two arguments are running in parallel and one does not deflect the other one.
Okay. And I'm going to unmute Commissioner Otley Brown in case you wanted to add anything about that.
Actually, I did want to add something. I find it very troubling that the applicant's response to our questions about occupancy and the warming kitchen / full kitchen is that he will consult with the applicant about reducing the size. I just want to remind the applicant that the BSA approved plans, the previously approved plans, have that area as storage. And the resolution makes clear the board's concerns about having a catering operation or a banquet hall operation at this site, because we were mindful of the fact that we didn't want that kind of intensity of use. And so at the moment, the applicant is not legally using that space. And so it shouldn't be I will consult with the applicant as to whether or not they want to reduce the space of the kitchen. It should be done, because what we could say and should say is we want that site, that space restored to its originally BSA approved use, which is storage. Everything should be ripped out,
right?
Ultimately.
So
this isn't a bargaining game. And with that, I'll turn it back over.
Okay, so I would like to reiterate that, and I would say that the only thing that I need to look at the plans, and I don't have enough screens in front of me to look at the plans, but it's understandable that there might be a little bit of a kitchen where you have a coffee and you heat up some crullers and that kind of thing at the end of services, something to that effect, but nothing on the level of anywhere close to the level of what we're seeing equipment being installed. And so, yeah, I think the direction is correct, that space must be, it's not a negotiation, the space must be reduced down to the size of the kind of place where you have like a microwave, a coffee pot, like those kinds of things, so that you can host little coffee after services or breakfast coffee type thing in the morning before services. Okay. I'm unmuting Mr. Noriega.
Understood. I will relay that. I just I would want to just clarify my comment earlier. I can't commit to anything, but if it's because I haven't had a chance to speak to the applicant since this morning's review session, but certainly I will relay this, that it must be reduced in size.
Okay.
Let me pull up my notes from other comments that were made this morning.
I'm recognizing Commissioner Scibetta raised his hand.
Yeah, we said that at the last hearing as well. So I hope to hear something different at the next time we speak about this. And I just want to clarify, there's no ongoing services or intended services in the near future, are there?
My understanding is currently they are having nothing, but it's mostly due to the circumstances that are currently happening, that they can't have any gatherings, period, at the moment.
I think the fire department wants.
Yeah, okay, but all right. Hold on a second.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Commissioners, the place of House of Worship is on our list for inspection to comply with the governor's orders to discontinue public gatherings. And from what I understand, our units will be going to the House of Worship maybe sometime later this week. So once I get that report, I'll report the same to you and to all the other members of the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Noriega, you wanted to continue?
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure, and let me see if I can paraphrase what the vice chair mentioned earlier, that there are two issues that we need to focus on regarding the rated occupancy and the parking calculations, that we need to show a proper calculation of the combined space to get to the number for the calculated parking, but the board will grant some sort of resolution for a smaller occupant load, even though it might be able to handle more, that we're going to be limited to, say, 227, which was shown on that the proposed PA layout. Is that a correct understanding of what we're looking for?
I'm unmuting Commissioner Shanda, but what I wanted to say is that the reason, so this application argued that there were a certain number of congregants. That's what this is all based on, right? And the idea that congregants come for holidays, high holy days, that kind of thing is one thing. But the idea that people are coming, whether congregants or not, for events is another thing. And I think actually that's more like what Commissioner Shanda was getting at, the idea that people are driving up in their ball gowns kind of thing to come to parties is not what this place is for, right? It's for use as a house of worship and worship ceremonies, right? And so that should rarely be meeting the occupancy loads. What just happened? So that should rarely be hitting those occupancy loads, and yeah, and so I think correct me if I'm wrong, Commissioner Shanda, but I think that's what she's getting at.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I agree with you.
Okay. Anything else?
So I think the only other comment, I think it was read into the review session this morning, was from the fire department regarding there's a few other comments, but the fire department asked when we were going to get a PA plan or PA certificate. And my understanding, we don't have an active certificate of occupancy, so we need to address that first before we get the PA plans. We do have them filed, and they'll likely be amended depending on how this application turns out, but we can't actually get a PA plan until we get the certificate of occupancy figured out. And then the last comment I wanted to bring up was regarding trash storage. I just want to be clear, there is a refrigerated trash storage in the cellar for any sort of events. They would be stored there until it is time for collection. There are also 2 dumpsters on the upper level, but that's not the perishable and food storage will be stored in the cellar in the refrigerated area for these events until it's time for pickup.
No. Dumpsters are not stored in the side yards. Dumpsters are stored inside the building, and they're taken out to the street at the time of pickup. No trash stored in the side yards. That's just a rule. That's just the way it's done. That's how you're respectful of your neighbors, right? Because you can't control what people put in the trash. And besides that, it's unsightly. Trash stays inside the building, also a non-negotiable.
So I will ask the applicant to figure out how they're going to address that. But again, there is a refrigerated trash storage in the cellar for these events. I just wanted to point that out. Okay. And there was also a comment about the planting. So I just want to make sure, because I know there was an issue of the drainage and the runoff. So there is a trench drain that surrounds the property. And I believe there was a comment about the potentially putting in plantings along the sides where the residences are, where there's portions that the cellar doesn't actually extend to the full lot line.
Correct.
We can certainly look at that, but I believe it's only on one side of the building, but we can certainly look at putting in planting there if that's the only area that we might need to install it.
Yes. Okay. And it's in-ground planting, right? Okay. I'm going to recognize Chief Daly, who had his hand up before.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Frank, I heard your comments, and of course, for all the Commissioner Chanda's comments regarding the occupant load. Yes, after the board has reviewed the revised numbers and of course getting the final C of O, you'll be able to get your PA permit. So we will follow along with this case, and once you have your permits, we'll be able to conduct our inspection. Thank you.
Okay, and then Commissioner Shanda.
With regards to the the trash storage being inside, I think we should get an operational plan about the trash pickup and other things. And that should be into our, should we go ahead and approve this, it should be part of our condition.
Right, okay. Okay, good. All right. Mr. Noriega, anything else?
Nope, we will definitely look into some sort of operational plan for the trash as well.
Okay, great. Great. Anybody else who's on the screen who would like to speak? Yes, Commissioner Shetta.
Yeah, I had a question regarding the gas lines removal. I just want to hear it that the wait for the gas line removal is because they are waiting for filing with the DOB, and these gas line will be removed sooner or later.
That is correct. They have retained engineers who have, I believe, have prepared plans and whatnot, but they haven't. I don't believe they filed yet. The chair mentioned that maybe they found something on DOB now, but I have not confirmed that. They have retained engineers to pull out the gas lines, but they need to file the plans, get permits before they can do that, which was different than just pulling out the kitchen equipment, which they were able to do without permits.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Last call of the people on the screen. Oh, Commissioner Otley Brown, just a second. Whoops.
Went back to, oops, am I on?
Nice.
I went back to the BSA resolution, and I just want to read for the record the statement that one of the conditions are that accessory uses shall not include the utilization of a room or other space for the operation of a business engaged in preparing or serving food or beverages for functions, occasions, or events. So the board was very clear. And with that, I have nothing else to say.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So now I'm going to ask again for the people who are listening to us on YouTube, whether there's anyone who would like to dial in to speak as a member of the public. Can we repeat that phone number again, Tony?
Sure, it's 646-558-8656, and the ID number is 439-774-213. And this is item number 6-2308BZ, 80-14 Chevy Chase Street.
Okay, give you a few 30 seconds to dial in, and after that, we'll move on to the next one. And I want to thank Mr. Noriega for being a very good Zoom participant. Okay, I think we can move on to the next one.
Item number, I'm sorry, move on. Item number 7-12013BZ, 1815 Forest Avenue, Staten Island. And the number is 646-558-8656. Meeting ID number is 439-774-213.
So who's ever associated with this application, this is Prior Cashman.
Yeah.
Please dial in or access through your Zoom app, the Zoom link. I don't see anybody in the waiting room on this. This is again 1815 Forest Avenue, Staten Island. Calendar number 120-13BZ.
He was in the waiting room earlier, so maybe we should give it a little bit.
Okay. Oh, here we go. We have someone in the waiting room. Phone number 835. I'm going to admit phone number last digit 835. I'm hoping that you are calling in for 1815 Forest Avenue. Okay, I'm sorry. So you're unmuted, phone number 835.
Hi, good morning. Neil Weisford, Prior Cashman. Hope everyone's doing well.
Thank you.
I listened to your comments earlier, and I'd just like to go through them in order. That's how I have them.
Wait, I gotta swear you in.
Oh, okay. Yes.
All right. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Yes, I do.
Okay, proceed.
Neil Weisford, Prior Cashman. I apologize for the notice having the chair's email. I didn't obtain a copy of that administrative notice and realize that they should be sent to BSA Submit. And if you're telling me that I need to notify all the neighbors for the next hearing, I will make sure all the correct information will be on that notice, including the proper email address. When we get to the end, or you could tell me now that, yes, you're going to want to notify the neighbors of the next hearing, and then I can make a note of that.
Okay, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea since we are going to have another hearing. So yeah, actually. And since we had at least one person send us a letter, others may have tried to send this email to the chair and got nowhere on that, which I apologize to the public about. We didn't know it doesn't function.
Okay, so I will notify the 90 neighbors prior to the next hearing. Well, just so the purpose of this hearing was to hear the neighbors, but I want to go through your comments. They're all justified, and I just wanted to talk about there may have been some disconnect from review session, the February 3rd review session, to the February 4th hearing. And so you are speaking about moving the trash away from the residences. And I explained to the board at the February 4th hearing that this is not an application brought by McDonald's Corporation. It's actually the responsibility of the owner operator. The trash enclosure, this application was approved in 2013 with the trash enclosure in place and with the lighting that's in place. And it's not a big corporation. And in this instant case, there's many cases that I do bring in front of you where it is McDonald's Corporation. And we're happy to spend that extra money, but it would be a big burden for the owner who obtained approval in 2013, now being asked to move the trash enclosure. And I thought we had agreed to that at the February 4th hearing, but I could be mistaken.
I would need to, I'm gonna unmute Commissioner Otley Brown and Commissioner Shanda. I would need to listen to the video again to see what it is we actually discussed. But since there are complaints from at least one neighbor about this, that's the reason that we have rules, right? So that we're checking that the use is not posing a nuisance to the neighborhood. And when we find that it is, we change the deal.
Right, I agree, and I thought we sent the notices out so we could hear from neighbors. I have to talk to the owner operator about this particular neighbor who's complaining. This is news to me, but I don't believe the complaints are related to the trash or the lighting. I believe it has to do with the honking at night, and I don't know, maybe there's some personal thing going on there. I'm not sure, so I'll have to get an update from the owner operator. But from that letter, it doesn't sound as though the complaints are related to trash or lighting.
Well, I want to say that lighting is always required to be kept on the site.
But it wasn't on the original approved drawings. It exceeded the 0 lumens at the lot line.
Now I think that's hair splitting. If your lighting is spreading over onto the neighbor, you have to get it off the neighbor. And I'm not really sure why we can't move the trash, actually. But I'd like to recognize Commissioner Otley Brown.
So I want to clarify what I meant in the previous hearing, because I believe there's been some misunderstanding based on the lengthy commentary that we had at the last hearing. I did not say that the trash enclosure should not be moved. What I did say is that I think we should let the neighbors speak to it, because I did recognize that it was a costly investment on the part of the applicant, and that the applicant wasn't part of the national McDonald's, but was an individual operator. And so I wanted to let the neighbors speak to it. That doesn't mean that the applicant should not be exploring other sites for the trash enclosure, as the chair had stated, so that you are ready should there be any kind of commentary that this is still a source of vermin and other disruption for the neighbors in the rear. And I did make a suggestion in this public review that you should consider the space in the southeastern portion of the lot that is against the one-story masonry Jackson Hewitt building, because I see that you have a 24-foot wide drive aisle that a garbage truck could actually use to get into the dumpster and then out of the dumpster. That was just an option, but I just wanted to reiterate that I am supporting the chair in her request that you at least explore other locations. And then also I wanted to say that we did want to open the conversation up with the neighbors in the rear, and one of them has responded. And so I think that your owner needs to seriously address the issues that were alleged in that letter with a plan, an operational plan, and not a statement back to us that's, I don't know if that individual owner has an issue that, you know, that isn't really germane to this case. I think we should take what's in that letter seriously, and the owner should respond with an operational plan to resolve those issues.
Fair, good, okay. And Commissioner Scibetta, you had your hand up before. Do you want to speak?
Sure. I think Commissioner Ollie Brown summarized what I was planning on saying. I do want to say that there was no confusion as to the lighting issues that we had at the last hearing. And if the argument was that this, you know, we spent a lot of money on this trash enclosure, you would at least submit something that shows that there wouldn't be any issues, that this has, that you have an operational plan, but nothing like that was submitted. Again, I do believe that less something that shows that this is a perfectly good location that you should really explore moving this location, and also address the serious complaints that were posed by the letter that was submitted to us yesterday.
Yes, I completely agree that the owner operator needs to meet with this neighbor, figure out what are the issues, do whatever they can to satisfy this neighbor. I will ask them, we will analyze moving the trash enclosure. I agree that there is a location that you've identified, and it hopefully won't be a draconian cost. And regarding the lighting, I think we're going to have to take actual readings, which we are proposing to do. We have, for other McDonald's sites, found a possible solution to reduce the lumens on that lot line, and we will explore that as well. And at the next hearing, we'll update you on all discussions with the neighbors, the operational plan, and what other steps we've taken to address any concerns on the neighbors.
Okay, great. Any, Commissioner Shanda, you're raising your hand very analog-like.
I also want to, I think one of the concerns that the neighbor had raised had to do with the noise coming from the honking, from those who are coming there, loud music playing, and you know, a lot of it has to do with the drive-through. So we do need to look at what kind of fencing that is being located, and maybe there needs to be a greater amount of sound attenuation provided along those residential lot line to minimize the noise pollution that is emanating from the drive-through. And we also need the actual sound reading from the, what is it called? The order booth, menu booth.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, I mean, the plan does show a new amount of new kind of planting that is being proposed along the rear lot line. I think we need to look at not only that, and maybe make it more dense, and also have a fence that is more of a sound buffer.
Okay. Okay, and I'm going to recognize Commissioner Scibetta. Sorry, there we go.
I have a suggestion to the applicant, because I see that he's kind of concerned about the lighting and the other issue. lighting wise, what he submitted so far is based on analytical model. Analytical models do not take into account some existing features like the trees. It couldn't be modeled that accurate. So I believe when they take actual measurements, if they have taken actual measurements like we asked last hearing, I would say the lighting issue could have been resolved by this hearing. But since it's not taken, I commend that they go take actual readings, and I anticipate that they're gonna come back good. So the lighting issue might be like a redundant by then. For the trash, it depends on the neighbor. Like we said, if the neighbor is okay with the existing condition and he doesn't have an issue with it, I would be sympathetic with the owner of the business not to burden him. But if the neighbors have issue with it, it need to be resolved no matter what the cost is.
Right. Okay, thank you. Okay, and I just wanted to, there were a bunch of other
Well,
things.
could I just wanted to add to, so in my cover letter, just so you understand, we did retain a sound engineer and they were able to perform sound readings. The architect is still analyzing that, but the numbers were very low, and we will provide that prior to the next hearing. Obviously, we've been delayed with a lot of stuff. We did say that we will have a lighting consultant take actual measurements. We were hoping to have that, the lighting consultant has been retained. They just have not had a chance to go out there and take the actual readings. I'm hoping that Commissioner Scibetta is correct and that we do have, the readings do come up much lower than what is identified by the readouts from the computer software. So we are on top of all of that.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so I just wanted to, have you again, because most of us found the submission very incomplete. So to reiterate, please listen to the review session and the hearing from the last time, which was February 3rd and 4th, and make sure you're responsive to all of those comments, as well as to listening to this review session and this hearing, and make sure you're responsive to all of the comments, and do investigate the relocation of the trash and the costs involved in it. I think my opinion about this is that trash, of course, should never be located next to residences. All of these businesses seem to find it more convenient to put the trash in the corner, and the corner typically ends up being next to someone's house, and that's really the wrong business approach. It could alleviate problems in the future because we don't know whether every neighbor, especially these days, will be able to respond to this request for comments, just because people may not be in their houses, they may be away, right? So, okay, go ahead.
Understood. And just also about Inspector Daly's comment of objection, we talked about that last hearing as well. We can't not get our place of assembly permit till, and if BSA approves this application, then we can renew our CO, and then we can get our PA.
Okay. Okay, Commissioner Daly, I'm going to unmute you if you want to add anything.
But I understand the difficulty they have to go through to get that permit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so as I said at the prior hearing, the continuation date will be posted on our website, and the project manager will email you. Oh, Commissioner Shanda has a comment. You have to use the digital hand, so I see you. Okay.
I did. Somehow it's probably not working. So I just want to know, did anybody from the public dial in to speak?
No, so we're going to make that announcement after.
Okay.
At the end of each one, we'll try that again, but I doubt the general public is aware of this option here, especially on this one, because notification was quite strange, right? So Mr. Weisbrod, when you write your notification, maybe you could pass it by your project manager before you send it, because make sure that the instructions to the public are correct given the times, right? So they should be sending their written comments to submit, but they should be made aware that the hearing may be held remotely like this, and that they should be going onto our website to see what the situation is with the next hearing. Okay.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
Thank you very much for dialing in and for cooperating in this new technique. So now I'm just going to again announce that this hearing is open to the public to dial in. This is for 1815 Forest Avenue in Staten Island, calendar number 120-13BZ. And the dial-in number, Tony, is
646-558-8656. And the meeting ID number is 439-774-213.
okay. So we'll give it a minute, and then we'll move on to the next. Okay, I don't see anyone calling in. So let's move to the next one.
Okay, item number 8, 2017-247BZ, 1367 East 24th Street, Brooklyn.
Okay, this is Miss Altman's case. So representative from Office of Lyra Altman should be calling in or coming on with Zoom meeting using our link. So I actually don't see anyone calling in. Can you repeat the dial-in number slowly?
Sure, it's 646-558-8656. And the meeting number is 439-774-213. I spoke to her yesterday, so.
Okay, so I don't see anything, but in this case, we didn't have any additional comments. So I don't really know that there's a need for the applicant to be present. And I think we could just close the hearing if everyone's okay with that. Oh, she's in. Okay.
Yeah, she's homeschooling her daughter, so it's a little difficult.
Okay, you're in.
Hello.
Hello, speak up, please.
Please identify yourself.
Hi, Lyra Altman from the Law Office of Lyra Altman.
Great. Sorry. Miss Altman, can you put the phone?
Yes.
Yeah, closer and yeah, okay, good. And turn off the video.
Here we go.
There you go.
Hi.
Hi, good, great, okay. So, Tony, do you want to do the swearing in?
Yeah. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth? She's calling in, so I can't see her. Do you affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in your testimony before this board and to respond honestly to board member questions?
Of course.
Okay. There actually weren't any additional comments, so I thank you for the submission. So, and thank you for calling in. So I think we can actually just close this.
I just want to say thank you very much for holding these hearings like this.
We're doing our best. We have a crackerjack team of IT experts or have other specific professions and manage to also do IT at the same time. So
this is great. Hopefully I'll be able to figure out Zoom next time.
Yes, it's very cool.
Okay. Do you want me to call the roll?
Yeah.
Chair Perlmutter?
Aye.
Vice Chair Chanda?
Oops, sorry, I didn't, what happened here? Sorry.
Vice Chair
Aye.
Chanda,
Aye.
Commissioner Otley Brown,
Aye.
Commissioner Sheta,
Aye.
Commissioner Scibetta.
Aye.
Okay, so with these hearings, unfortunately, because of kinds of challenges, we can't do close votes, but we will put this on for the next earliest available hearing for a decision, okay? Oops. You're on
Thank you very much.
mute. Thank you. Thanks for calling in. All right.
So that's the last case, right?
So you want to announce the next hearing?
Okay. All right, so the next hearing is at 2 p.m. And those cases will be 825-86 BZ, Bronxdale Avenue, 2796 BZ, 602 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn, 6796 BZ, 210 East 68th Street, Manhattan, 2017-59A, 3857 Ocean View Avenue, and 2019-65 BZ, 373 Avenue W, Brooklyn, 2019-158 BZ, 8903 57th Avenue, Queens, 2019-269 BZ, 3425 Rombouts Avenue, the Bronx, and, sorry, 2019-171 BZ, 1610 East Chester Road, the Bronx, and 2019-174 BZ, 4558 Bell Boulevard, Queens. This will commence, the review session and the public hearing will commence at 2 p.m.
Wait, sorry. That's 2 p.m. on March 24, you got.
Yes.
You sure?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Let's start.
I apologize. I was reading two calendars. I apologize. The only cases that will be heard at 2 p.m., I apologize, everyone. For March 24th will be the special order calendar, 825-86 BZ, 1703 Bronxdale Avenue, the Bronx. Item number 227-96 BZ, 602-604 Coney Island Avenue, Brooklyn. 6796 BZ, 210 East 86th Street, Manhattan. And 2017-59A, 3857 Ocean Avenue, Brooklyn.
Ocean View Avenue, Brooklyn.
Ocean View Avenue, Brooklyn.
And any other case that's scheduled for the hearing for March 24th that isn't on the list for today will be heard tomorrow in 2 sessions. And those calendars are currently listed on our website. You can see the order number of those calendars. Okay, thank you absolutely everyone for
This
dialing.
concludes the public hearing for March 24th, 10 a.m. 2020.
Thank you. All right, everyone should sign off, leave the meeting, and we can reconnoiter later.
Okay.